Hello, everybody, and welcome to Going Ghost versus Royal Jesters Lancelot Division. Mechanus Cadesius here with Cthulhu Senpai today,
Good evening, everybody.
and we're just getting ready to get into game one of this set. So, honestly, I'm looking at quite honestly, the solo matchup is one thing I'm really going to be looking for. DK and Joshi. Both have been performing pretty well this year so far, from what I can tell. But Cthulhu, what are you really going to be looking for in this matchup?
Well, since it is the lower divisions, I'm definitely just going to be looking forward to seeing how each and every one of these players are going to be running the game. There is a big difference between the Lance division all the way up to the Arthur division. Now, the meta would still be the same, but depending on the different divisions, there are going to be some gods that are considered meta and some that aren't as well.
Get that? I mean, if I remember correctly, there was a point in time where Persephone wasn't exactly very highly valued in lower elos, but was extremely highly valued in higher elos.
Yeah,
So,
and that comes from the skill gap between them.
absolutely.
And so here we could probably see they're probably going to consider an extremely valuable pick out of something we wouldn't consider to be a top pick in the higher elos.
I can get that.
Say maybe I can think right now. In the solo lane, they could probably end up picking.
Kukulin is Kukulin. I'm pretty sure he's just always going to be highly picked.
That is something as well. Kukulin is always going to be a high pick between lower elos and top elos.
And here we go. The first ban on the board very quickly banning out Olarin. Going Ghost very, very quickly banning out Olarin. Getting that completely off the board.
And
Ao
straight into that Ao
Kuang,
Kuang as well.
two very potent bans, but Cthulhu, what are your thoughts? Like, what are they looking?
Oleron, I wouldn't really like to see banned here in the lower elos. But again, that's a big ult. He is a meta ban. Same with the Soul. They're both meta bans currently. And that all-around ult will probably have more effect in the lower elos as well, being harder to
And
play
then
around for them. And the
immediately,
Colin coming out as well.
I feel like both the bans out of the Royal Jesters, those are going to be solo lane bans, where those are very obviously ADC bans from Going Ghost. Trying to make sure their carry Sweaty Sacks is quite comfortable over there. And then Cleodna, the last ban, and Hewa, the first pick from Going Ghost, with Maui, the last ban from Royal Jesters. This is going very quickly.
So seeing that Maui ban, knowing that he has that bug in the game, I do not think that would be much of a prominent ban currently.
Well,
it's like a high risk, high reward kind of play. And if you get locked out of your abilities, there's just nothing you can really do besides die at that point.
Fair. I mean, it's worth keeping in mind as Athena gets locked in here for the Royal Jesters. It's worth keeping in mind the Maui bug right now. The way it works is if you hook an enemy and then they are banished, then your hook gets lost with them, and then you don't get it back until you die. But that, of course, means that you're having to hook them, so it is able to be worked around, in my opinion. And Maui is still pretty strong, in my opinion, as a support. Charybdis, the last pick here for Royal Jesters, and Athena Charybdis duo lane. That's going to be very potent.
That is going to be a very strong duo lane. Easy poke coming out of the Char, as well as the Athena taunt being able to just pull them in and focus them while they're in that wave. With Charybdis 1 being able to poke through the wave alongside that taunt, they were able to multi-clear those minions twice as fast just by pulling them in the center.
Freya getting picked as well. Freya getting picked right back into this Charybdis.
Now, that is going to be a better pick in that duo lane. She has a lot more power coming into that late game, being able to just completely melt anything in her path, from towers to tanks to even the fire giant.
I mean, that isn't one of Freya's problems is difficulty with objectives. As Horus gets locked in, I believe, as the support here.
You would think that would be true, but Freya is currently one of the only ADCs that are capable of soloing the Fire Giant.
I mean, fire is one thing. I'm talking like phoenixes and towers.
That is true. She does have difficulty being able to solo those, but with a good tank, she should be able to burn them faster than that Gerb does. With her 1 and 2 being able to stack and deal a massive amount of damage.
That's very fair. That is very, very fair. And honestly, out of this Going Ghost team, so far, I really like what they've got here. Hebois with his knockup,
And we see
Freya
the
with a band.
Merlin being picked up here in the mid lane.
Merlin, a very strong pick from what I recall, as far as being able to just burn things down real fast. But
So
I
we
don't
have
see it.
they got 2 ejected burners here on both teams, being that Merlin and that Freya. Hebo assists more on the other team. So I'm interested to see what else they're going to be picking up here for it's Going Ghost on the right?
It is Going Ghost on the left. So Going Ghost is the first pick, first ban in this game.
They ended up banning out that Odin, speculating there's going to be a horse support there. That Odin ult would have been extremely bad to play against with this team comp, just easily throwing your ones on Hebo into that cage without having to get into their range.
Oh, absolutely. Hebois, Freya, both going to be trapped in that cage. The only one so far able to get out is the Horus, and if your support is the only one able to get out, probably a good thing to ban. But also, Athena,
The
Charybdis,
Thor
Merlin,
and
help.
Naja getting banned here for the jungle as well.
Absolutely.
They're trying to
So
keep
who's
that Freya as safe as possible here, probably by banning out the junglers. So we might be able to see a Ravana ban here.
again? I feel like so far Going Ghost
Fenrir
draft
as well is a good ban.
and
Easily
Guan
countered
Yu
by all 3 of their picks currently though.
and Guan Yu picked
But that
up
will
by
cost them ult.
the Royal Jesters. You say Fenrir is easily countered by all 3 of their picks. I assume you're talking about the Whoop from Freya. What's Hebois really do to counter Fenrir? Just
Ult.
damage? Okay, just
Hell.
damage.
His ult becomes a damage immune, so he's able to just whoop straight through that Fenrir and probably just one shot him
Oh,
anyways.
I forgot he becomes damage immune in that. Hell tier, the last 2 picks.
They were
Or
definitely banning
Going
that Fenrir
Ghost.
out for that hell though there. Being able to not have no immunity against that brutalize and just having immunity against that ult.
Absolutely. Though Hell tier, the last 2 picks, quite apparent now where that horse is going. I
Now
doubt we'll be seeing a tier
this is
split.
something I was trying to say earlier. We're gonna be seeing off meta picks like the hell. And hopefully we can see them pop off a little bit more. Hell is not that bad of a character, having a lot of burst damage as well. It's just she's extremely
Dodgy.
immobile. She is extremely mana consuming until late game. And that
Absolutely.
CC immunity and the skill cap for that god is extremely difficult to utilize fully.
Certainly. And the last pick here going to be Daji to the Royal Jesters as we get ready for game 1 between Going Ghost and Royal Jesters Lancelot Division. Cthulhu, what are your final thoughts of these 2 drafts?
I generally do not like that dodgy pick into this team comp. They have 5 CC immunities, and you can technically say that's going to be 9 CC immunities for each god. Easily able to cleanse that dodgy ult. On top of having beads on majority of their squishies, that dodgy ult is not going to be getting any value. But the Athena pick is definitely solid here, being able to get those beads as well. The Guan ult can stun them out of that. Late game though, I feel like Going Ghost has the better team comp here. So I'm going to side with them on this game.
I am very obliged to agree with that. The Hell pick, I feel same as you, is very, very strong into that comp. Not to mention, of course, Freya, the way she scales in the late game, and Hebois himself and his scaling. And then they've got Tyr and Horus to kind of soak up that early game and allow that their pressure to take over. So, well, we'll see how it goes between Going Ghost and the Royal Jesters Lancelot division. So, honestly, what I think is definitely going to be the deciding factor here, though, is if this Hell can get her cleanses off properly. She gets those cleanses down, and we're looking at a pretty solid performance for going.
That's the game changer there, being able to just spam those cleanses. She'll probably be picking up a Chronos Pendant at some point in this game, or just trying to cap out that cooldown regardless without it. And there's a lot of items she can do to easily utilize that. She might build Breastplate, she could build Chronos Pendant, she could just go Spirit Deso and Soul Gem. There's just so many items she's able to utilize to get that cap, as well as keep her mana pool extremely high and get a lot of value out of Tablet of Destinies as well.
As we load in here,
the main problem is this dodgy early game will easily be able to gank her until she gets that Book of Thoth completely online. So they're going to need to put a lot more pressure in that mid lane.
Book of Thoth for sure a very, very potent item right now that changed toward the end of last season, beginning of this season. The 10 flat pen going onto the item, helping it quite a bit from what I know.
It was really a game changer for this item. Simply, it was picked up regardless on majority of the mages still because of the double stack meta. But it didn't have that flat pen, so they were stacking Warlock Staff and wasting that item slot. Now, having that flat pen additionally, it's able to be picked up without that Warlock Staff and be able to utilize not only that flat pen it gets, but also other items that give you that percent pen as well. And we do see the double stack items being built currently on certain gods like Baba Yaga, or just high power characters, or characters that want to be tanky like Zhong.
Baba Yaga is always gonna like quadruple stack though.
That is true. She's never not gonna be stacking her items.
As we look in here, we do have the Hibwa at the speed buff as both sides get ready to move things on and get this game underway.
Now, what I want to see is at some point a new clear meta going on for that solo side.
I don't think there will be. Simply that solo side, the way that it gets done over there currently is so safe, so easy. The only clear meta that would be different on that solo side is if the jungler, from what I know, decides I want to start with my duo lane and do the solo side start on duo side.
That is true, and we see the gate coming into the solo lane currently right now. Daji's trying to get some extra poke. She might be able to secure the kill, but I highly doubt that at this phase of the game. Tyr gets back to his tower.
Royal Jesters trying to move in, but unable to secure the gank here, as Tyr is able to get back safely. That stance change straight into the defense stance 2 to get that healing. Very potent right now.
We have both the supports and duo lanes slightly poked out. Athena does cancel that dash on Horus, but she's getting poked out for that. We have Hebo ganking that lane.
And Hibwa going in.
Immune. Big damage coming out of that Hebo currently, and Freya's just slapping that Charybdis. She might die here. She dies here to Hebo, and Athena's going to go down here too. That's double kill for duo lane alongside the first blood.
Very strong game.
Aji looking into the mid lane, but Hell's trying to play it safe as well here.
Very strong gank at a Going Ghost there. Hibwa able to come in right behind all that and all the confusion, and in the middle of Horus being canceled out. Very well by the Athena. Doesn't matter because Hibwa's just there to clean everything up.
If I was at Athena, I would have not wasted that taunt on that dash. I would have taken that and just saved that taunt, knowing very well that their jungle was going to be rotating to that lane. Seeing him in mid in that early phase, knowing my jungle wasn't in the solo lane, it's very obvious they're going to be ganking that lane instead.
I mean, I guess that's the difference there between Lancelot and Arthur for sure. Because I probably would have done the same thing, just seeing the Horus try and dash. No,
we got Daji over in duo lane looking to gank this lane to try to recover some of that, but it seems like they have a ward up there knowing that Daji's going to try to gank. Yes, there's 2 wards for the Going Ghost team here currently in both duo lane.
I do like that Going Ghost. Both of them. I do like that Going Ghost is spending time warding up and keeping everything safe over there. I don't like the Daji's pathing, but I get it. It is faster to have walked over both of those than to have just gone back the way she came. And it gets her back to her farm in a lot safer manner. So it does make sense at the very least.
And she was able to steal that green buff there, taking away some of that farm from the jungle. we have the support getting poked out heavily over in dual lane one more time on that Athena. It doesn't look like this comp is going to be getting out any pressure in this lane against the Freya and Horus.
Freya, Horus, just a lot of pressure. Freya's weakest level is 1, and that is undone by the mere concept of the level 2 start, so a lot of ability for Freya to just...
We have Hebo coming to this dual lane one more time, looking to gank them. While they're securing that silver, but Horus does miss his dash. Tribus goes immune. Hebo has ult up. This is going to be an easy, secure kill on this. Absolutely. And she goes down to Azure one more time, giving him, what is it, 2 kills now? 2 and 1 on that Horus and Hebo. He's trying to secure this purple buff, but it looks like he's going to get caught out and possibly die here.
I don't think he dies.
Dodgy does let him get away.
I don't know if that's letting him get away so much as not wanting to fight into that whole team that you know is there.
That is true.
Horus and Freya both in that lane can both rotate over very quickly if needed. I think that's just a smart play by Dodgy. Poke out the Hebois, try and make him back, but don't get too out of position yourself. You're already behind. No reason to put yourself even further behind.
Nothing much really going on in the mid lane. The solo lane is trying to steal the other laner's blue buff, having a slight level advantage.
I'm not used to seeing a Guan Yu have to play from behind, honestly.
I mean, against a tier, he easily gets out cleared until he starts getting more levels into either one of his abilities. Having that Fearless and the 2, just being able to insta-clear the wave. He should be able to secure this buff here easily. Dodgy is in right jungle hovering over this, but she's not going to be able to make it there going to her speed buff. Horus is looking to gank back in the dual lane as well.
Horus, one of my favorite characters as far as being able to just gank wherever he wants, because that ultimate, you go to the skies and you come down on someone and they hurt.
And there's that Freya damage coming out and poking Nova Shark down to 1 HP.
Nova Shark having to back out.
She does throw that kill on the Freya, missing the first ult. I'm not sure what happened there.
Nova Shark having to back out of that, but with that 3 able to stay very, very safe. The Raging Whirlpool able to keep him alive here for sure.
We see
the
Hebo beads or Hell Cleanse?
Hell Cleanse on the Hebois.
No, Hebo beads as well.
Oh no, that is not
and
what you
Hell beads on top of that too, but they do secure the kill on the Dodgy instead and taking that ultimate out.
That is not clean play from the Hebois and Hell combo, trying to make sure everyone's CC immune, and instead 2 people still getting pulled in. So Hell, not a pick I entirely trust in the Lancelot division, but
we do see it playing pretty safe here currently. And she is making a moderate difference, just there that Hebo beads, even though he was getting cleansed by the Hell at the same time.
People in this division, one thing I feel like has been a struggle for myself included, is just remembering that you need to trust your teammates. Like, it doesn't matter what division you're in, you know, whether or not it means you're skilled or whatever, you have to trust your team is there to back you up. As things really get going down here in the mid lane.
Dodgy ends up dying to the Hebo as well there, giving him a 4-0 lead over this jungle.
And a 3-level difference, and look at the player damage charts really lining up in that Hebois' favor. 3,900 damage is Dodgy sitting in 3rd place on that chart. And the XP and gold difference, I'm pretty sure all of it for going Ghost right now, all of it out of that jungle.
For sure. Both that jungle and the solo lane are taking that majority of the gold difference there.
This Freya over here really trying to push and start generating a lead as Guan Yu just tries to keep in the fight on all this. Dodgy rotating over on this tier though, as in the mid lane, more posturing to continue. Dodgy trying really hard to get this kill over here in solo, trying to get back into the game. Daji able to get the chain down, but
That's 2 ults for the Lawbringer ult as well, getting Tyr narrowly out of that.
Tyr with massive value out of that.
And we get a kill over in the dual lane as well. Freya ult down.
This Freya at the mid game, Charybdis doesn't quite hit a power spike yet, but Freya with that Telkine's ring is a massive power spike for any mage ADC. I'm not horribly surprised that the Freya is able to pick up a kill here. As she goes ahead and cleans up the lane and makes sure Nova doesn't get as much farm, sending that wave in the tower.
This game is definitely going in Going Ghost's favor here. It's going to be a while until we see Royal Jesters getting online at any phase in this game currently.
Royal Jesters, so far, this game is getting out of hand for them. They need to step back, regroup, and probably try and push an objective. There's not a lot of vision on the map. And that tends. Good game. All right, and we are back into game one as Hell continuing to just try and posture here in the mid lane, get her farm without getting poked horribly.
He ends up securing the kill on that Daji over there with his ultimate. Looking for this Charybdis again.
They're going to look for it. It looks like Going Ghost are going to not just look for the Charybdis, but potentially the Gold Fury on this. As Athena ults in, trying to beat the rotation.
Down.
Beating the rotation from Going Ghost is this Athena with the Defender of Olympus. And now, nothing really doing for Going Ghost on this side of the map. As Merlin also makes a rotation over. Merlin going ahead, moving back to mid as we look at Hell, making sure to get
Daji looking here, trying to get some poke out on this Hebo. Ends up walking over a ward as well.
This Daji needs to stop worrying about this Hebo and start worrying about farm. I don't know how much more I can say to that. Though this Horus has given up a little bit of farm himself to try and get some pressure down, it looks like. A level lead developing for the Royal Jesters support.
What the Royal Jesters need to end up doing here is they need to fight the 2v3s without their jungle and allow that jungle to be able to rotate to the other lanes while they're fighting these team fights.
A good cleanse from the Hell, able to get people out of the Powwow, my bad. Out of the Powwow from Daji.
Does go down there as well. Merlin and Daji extremely low.
So both, it seems, will be able to get away clean. And looks like we're just going to reset again. Speaking of clean, Going Ghost playing a very lean game of Smite right now. Very textbook from them at the moment. As this tier Going to fearless through the harpy there and just make sure to get that farm. Steal more of that farm away from the Guan Yu.
Tyr is going to be letting that totem go to the Guan though. Focusing the wave and forcing that wave into the tower, or at least part of it, and then going straight to his buff.
That's a good call from the tier there, in my opinion. It may be
Sacrificing totem and letting his farm seep away into that tower line is always a good call there.
However, I know that personally I would be a little bit too proud to do that. That totem's mine.
Freya opts to ult there and go straight back to the Daji, who could have gotten that kill secured, but opts out of that fight, oddly enough. We do have Charybdis ult go down. Hebo does secure the kill on Nova. Athena is still going in with the Daji ulting and missing every chain but a singular one. Horus misses the dash. Athena gets whooped, knocked up, and Athena goes down. This is a easy goal for your potential right here, but Freya and Hebo are both low here, easily being able to be burnt down by that Merlin.
Absolutely.
It looks like hell is calling for this Gold Fury.
They want it, that's for sure, and Going Ghost are in a position to go grab it, as they do indeed start up the Gold Fury. Gold Fury is starting to burn down this Horus, but he is quite tanky. As Merlin attempts to get damage on it and almost secures it.
Secured alongside Merlin going down to the Athena as well. Or Freya as well.
Whoop ensuring that he goes down there, just banishing him, putting him in the air for your combos to be set up on. As Going Ghost immediately goes after this Pyromancer as well. All 5 here. This should be burnt without any response from the Jesters. And that is
very well could be a Fire Giant bait as well here, being able to eat. They're back to full health. They could easily bait that Fire Giant and poke down their enemy team, and possibly end up securing that FG as well. Now that was one of the upsides of having a healer like hell on this team. They went from that Gold Fury at a half HP, rotated to the Pyro, back to full HP. And they're full HP after the Pyro. They could easily bait that fire or force that gank to the solo lane and take that T1 tower.
Absolutely, and this game, I've said it before, I'll say it again, out of hand is a way to put it right now. Player damage going by far and away the way of Hibwa, and this Freya, while trying to catch up to him, is also just sitting at second. There is not a whole lot going in the favor of the Royal Jesters right now. If I'm
big fight going on over in the solo lane. Tyr is going to be melted here and go down easily to that Daji ult, sadly enough. 4-man rotation to the solo lane. We have a 4-man rotation over in left. 3-man rotation. Horus might be looking to ult onto that Charybdis, but they're just going to opt to walk in that lane. And there's the Horus ult go off right now.
Into the sky is going off from the Horus as they go in.
Charybdis Horus is under that tower. This Charybdis is easily going to go down there. That is her ultimate. Freya ult as well, not something you want to see there being wasted.
The Raging Whirlpool, not enough to get Charybdis out of it, because this time they're able to go into that tower. Hell just looking to get a little bit of poke down on this Merlin. And really, if I'm the Jesters right now, I'm looking at Merlin and saying,
we do have a 3-man rotation from that duel lane coming to the back of mid tower. It looks like Horus is wanting a tower dive, and he's trying to coordinate his team around this tower. If he does end up tower diving that, he's going to end up going down, though.
Yeah, I mean, there are moments where you definitely throw yourself at the tower and let your team collect the triple. Hibwa going into the tower instead.
Horus goes in behind him. Hebo secures that Merlin kill.
That is a very gutsy play by this Hibwa, and it pays out in dividends, getting the Merlin, and it looks like the tower.
Charybdis keeps trying to pressure out this Freya, even though she has a 4-level lead over her. That is not something you want to see from a comp player right there. You have to know when you're behind and know when you need to turtle that lane. And at this point, I would say that Charybdis is better off just rotating out of that lane.
At the moment, if Freya's smart, she's just gonna let that wave collect there at her tower and make Charybdis come all the way up there for farm. But it looks like Freya's gonna play a faster style of game here and just go ahead and clear these waves.
Well, with that Gold Fury coming up, that's probably what the Freya's thinking there. She's going to clear this wave, back it up here, and hopefully group with her team for that Gold Fury one more time. While Hebo is over and right trying to poke out this Guan Yu as well.
Makes sense.
Now we do see the Breastplate of Regrowth being built up here on that soul. Another good item. And it looks like she might be going for anti-slow here. Not something I would really see picked up on Hell. It seems like it would be decent enough to have, but at the same time, she's going to be sacrificing a lot of her damage and healing potential coming out of those two items.
A questionable Defender of Olympus down from Lone Wolf here as the tier jumps back in and into the skies down from Horus as Tears pulled away.
Daji gets out alive and Athena narrowly escapes, but they're going to secure this T1 tower and possibly push that fire giant. They are pinging it. They secure that tower and they're just going to be rotating for that fire. That is something I had forgotten. Lotus Crown now being moved into that hidden blade tree right there.
Indeed.
But she is sacrificing 2 power item slots for those 2 items there alone.
This Hell knows who what 2 people are really building power here and deciding to build it as a 3rd utility player. Though with Freya and Hibwa, I think you have all the power you need to be able to do that.
Easily. And that's probably exactly what she's thinking, knowing she has 2 magical powers coming out of both that Freya and that Hibwa. So she wants to add additional support to these teams and allow them to be able to play around that easier. We have them going for the Primal Fury instead here, and Daji is trying to contest it. Still 3 levels down from their nearest level 16 player.
Absolutely, and there's not even going to be a contest. The Royal Jesters just don't have the firepower, don't have the health for a lot of these contests at the moment.
They don't. Being extremely underleveled as well as just not having the right comp to play around this as easily as the Going Ghost team has.
Honestly, this feels like one of those games that you sit back at the end of it and you say, okay guys, that is, like, as the captain, that's on me, this is draft diff. Let's just go back to the drawing board and just try and out-draft this time.
Now that dual lane early game had a lot of potential, but it was easily shut down by the Hebo just walking into that lane and ganking them, when it was quite obvious at that phase what was going to happen. And we have a big fight going down in mid. They're easily going to take 2 kills.
Maybe even 3.
Leaving that 16-1 difference in the game currently. A massive gold lead of 10,000 and 16 kills to the Royal Jesters, 1 kill.
Here's, I hate to bring this up, but I'm looking at the Royal Jesters builds, and where's the anti-heal? Where is the anti-heal?
That is definitely something.
We now have...
Now with Shadow Steel being removed from the game, just a bad idea in general. With them building crit, they have no way to really fully utilize Toxic Blade in that build. She could go Beat Stick, but she needs all of her items on that carry. The support is barely going to be building what I'm hoping is Pestilence, and we do not have a Contagion coming out of that solo either, being against that tier, easily being able to proc that. And the Daji does have Beat Stick second, and we have Merlin barely picking up that Divine third. So hopefully we will start seeing these team fights shift over a little bit more in Royal Jester's favor, but with the high lead that Going Ghost does have, I don't think it's going to be happening that way. Now with securing fire, they're going to be pushing down these mid T2s and the left T2 here.
I'll be honest, if that is a Pestilence in that 3rd slot for this Athena, I like the call. That is a lot of healing from this Going Ghost team, so having the extra anti-heal from the improved Pestilence passive is very, very helpful. I don't think it's enough. I don't know if there is enough anti-heal in this game.
We do not. We do have them picking up that Ankh as well. Once she does have the Pestilence online with the Ankh, the 2 anti-heal items she has. It should be about 90% anti-heal after DR, and that's just perfect for against this team comp here.
As you just watch this team, all the green numbers popping up over their names, and just
that is crazy. One of the problems.
Look at that! Look at those health bars. They were all critical to low. Now they're all just perfectly fine.
Healers like Hell, Freya, and Chang'e are easily able to get around that global anti-heal out of combat and just be able to heal right back up to full and rotate back in with their team there. Hell is one of the most notorious characters to be able to do that as well.
I absolutely believe it. The numbers that she pumps out of her kit are insane as this tier goes ahead and pushes that mid lane wave and makes this rotation back over toward his jungle in this Daji.
As we see the golden experience lead, it just keeps going straight up. Hopefully this game will be a long one and a good one. Come near that end.
Defender of Olympus drawn out of this Athena to make sure that her Daji stays safe, as tier seems will go ahead and back.
Now I'm sorry to see that Merlin come through having the second most damage of the game. Extremely valuable pick, but if they can't keep him alive alongside that Daji, they're not going to be able to do anything in these team fights. Starting them out majority of the time 4v5 every time because they get easily picked off by this team. That Hell constantly rotating with either the Hebo or the Freya, whoever is alone at that time, makes it extremely hard to be able to get any value out of ganking those two. And also extremely difficult to be able to get away from those two when they roll up on you.
As a fight breaks out over the Royal Jesters left
Hebo going
Phoenix.
in, Hebo ulting and securing the Trib disc. He is going to go down to this. He is not going to go down to Athena, saved by the Fearless from tier. The Royal Jesters extremely low here, missing out one player of the team, having the Guan in the back, trying to pressure out the Horus. But the Hell comes in to heal up, and tier comes right back in. We have 3v3 here over in the dual lane, with 2 more on the backs trying to sustain up on those silver buffs. This Phoenix is definitely going to go in Going Ghost's favor, but it's just a matter of when and how. We do have tier going into the mid lane, pushing those Phoenix, or those minions into the Phoenix.
As we look, tier indeed having to putting pressure down on Royal Jesters. They have to answer to. And this Fire Giant buff just now wearing off.
And the Fire Giant spawning as well with Gold Fury up. It is not a Primal or an Oni, just a standard gold. They might be prioritizing that fire more, and Freya looks like she might be wanting to do it. But the question is, will this tier be able to proxy them away from that FG long enough for them to secure it? They know it's happening, but that Merlin is poking out that tier massively. They're just taking half of his HP with 2 abilities. And he's not sustaining nearly enough to be able to stay in those fights.
The Going Ghost going to get a free Fire Giant off of tier, just making sure no one else can step up.
Now with that Merlin, and they knowing that Merlin can burst down that tier, they could have easily secured the kill on the tier and possibly rotated that FG, but they decided to play passive there instead. Knowing that it's not an enhanced FG, that was probably the better call there as well. But that puts them in a massive disadvantage here.
I don't know. You're so far behind at this point in the game. I feel like it's win or lose right there anyway. I feel like Going Ghost can just almost walk in on them and take it.
Easily. They have a massive level lead over majority of their characters. They have a level 17 Horus. And their jungle is still 1 level below that guy. So this is just a matter of when and how they end up taking these Phoenixes, and they're going to take
dives in. And the fight breaks out over the mid lane Phoenix. Daji up in the powwow, but the light stance
Horus
the Hell
goes down to the Merlin. We have tier at about a quarter HP, Hebo at half. Hell is trying to stain up and keep her CCs off of their teammates there.
The Royal Jesters
tier goes down.
Out Going
Ghost goes down as well. We have 2v5 here currently. That was a great fight for the Royal Jesters there.
The Royal Jesters able to kick out Going Ghost during the later stage of this game, where it would seem Going Ghost just has the better draft.
Now, what had happened there? The tier did go in with Lawbringer, but that was the main problem. He had no way to be able to get out of that fight. Easily got poked out by both the Phoenix, the Daji, the Charybdis, as well as the Merlin. While the Merlin was also fighting on that front line, poking out their Hebo and their Porus there. And Freya was not likely focusing the Phoenix, more so focusing their Guan Yu there while he was trying to dive them.
Absolutely. I've seen a few questionable ults from this Athena this game, but her taunts, not a question to them. Her taunts have been landing with extreme efficiency.
We do have this Merlin coming up, 1,000 damage below their Hebo. Catching up extremely fast. He is going to be the difference maker in this game. Being a great anti-siege character, easily able to force out any team fight.
Merlin, not just a great anti-siege character, but a great answer to a few pieces of the Going Ghost puzzle.
Of course.
Ghost, though, going ahead and grabbing this Pyromancer, though, with only one person able to really put anything on it.
Not picking up the bomb as well there.
Well,
just walking
all their inventories were full, except for Tyr. I assume someone's going back and grabbing it now.
Hell ends up picking up that bomb after placing a ward. They all had one slot besides that Hebo to be able to pick up that bomb, though. But they all just walked over it.
When Pyro was dropped, the only person that could have picked it up was Tyr. So they all had to place wards around fire and then pick it up. But Tyr gonna go ahead and clear out the enemy blue, just continue trying to push the game ever further into their favor.
When this FG spawns, it should be close enough for them to hold it down and get that enhanced FG. So Royal Jesters need to be able to push this Fire Giant freely so they can contest it and possibly steal that.
Well, one thing that makes it a lot easier for them to go ahead and do that is the fact they did not lose that mid lane Phoenix, as the Fire Giant does spawn. And
Hebo's trying to push in, gets poked out as well.
It looks like we're not even going to have that 30-second dance. FG burning fast. And we still have 25 seconds before enhanced fire comes up.
And also, you like to see knowing that there's 20 seconds on that FG. They're definitely going to try to kill that here.
And they have the vision. They're not burning it anymore. They know no one's nearby, that they can just hold this as long as they need to by the look of it. 5 more seconds, and that's exactly what it looks like we're going to see here. As
they slightly missed the enhanced FG. Definitely a bad play coming from those Going Ghost players right there.
They burn it down just a moment too soon. Patience the key there, and patience not to be found.
They saw that Athena pop up on a ward and just freaked out for a split second.
They have to realize that Athena's not going to burn that before they do. They had enough of that health remaining. They could have left it even with Athena there.
Tyr is going to go
Tyr goes
down
in alone.
Here. No, maybe.
Like, out.
Using Lawbringer, having no bees to be able to get out. Gets pulled right back in, easily getting bursted down by that Merlin and going down to the Merlin as well. Horus ults in, takes the Daji. The whole Going Ghost team is rotating in on this. Guan Yu is low, goes
Valkyrie's
down to Freya.
Valkyrie's discretion up into the air.
They're pushing his Phoenix as hard as they can here. Possibly going to secure it, but that Charybdis does come back in, focusing out that Freya. No, the hell.
Two-man
but Freya just ignores it and focuses that Phoenix and takes it. We have a 3v4 with a healer on that hell, easily being able to max out that HP one more time while they push down this mid wave.
Absolutely. This hell is coming in absolutely massive. And while the cleanses, I think I saw 1 or 2 questionable cleanses, the healing coming out, she's had some phenomenal hits with that cleanse this game.
Now, Going Ghost losing that tier was not as detrimental. but the way that he went down was bad. He had bad positioning going into that fight, knowing his team wasn't anywhere near at the start. Getting pulled by that dodge ult and allowing for the team to easily regroup once they respawned on this mid Phoenix. But we do see Merlin going down to Azur and Azur going down to the Dodgy, and they give up that mid Phoenix free just to take out that Hebo.
That's a very big pick for them, so I don't really blame them.
Hell takes out. I can't see who that is.
Hell takes out Merlin here as Horus is able to keep 3 of them contained on himself. In the tier trying to fight in as Freya just cleans up the Charybdis in the back line and really starts wailing on these tanks. The Guan Yu and the Athena going down, and this really should be game here. Going Ghost. Very clean game throughout as they take.
They did have some rocky fights near the end, like that first mid dive, but they ended up cleaning up very well in that end fight as well.
Certainly the judgment from tier there, in a sense, not being a good judgment call, as it were. However, the team being able to come in around that and clean it up. Going Ghost, take game 1.
Now coming to this game 2, we'll probably be seeing that Hebo being banned there, and possibly that Freya as well.
I don't think the 8-0-7 Freya is going to be allowed back into game 2 for sure.
Same for that 11-2 Hebo, making a massive difference in that early phases of the game.
Absolutely, and I think more warding out of the Royal Jesters would help them quite a bit. Even though they knew that their jungle was on that other side of the map, sometimes you get caught in that kind of logical spiral, if you will. Oh, well, their jungle is going to go over there too. No, that did not happen.
Yes. We're going to be taking it to a break here going into the game 2 while we wait for the team to set up that lobby. So we'll be right back for this game.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Game 2 of the Going Ghost Royal Jesters Lancelot Division set. Mechanus Cadesius here, back with Cthulhu Senpai as we get
Good
ready to
evening,
set up
everybody.
for Game 2. So, Game 1, very one-sided affair. A few mistakes out of a few players toward the end, but it didn't really matter as Going Ghost very, very cleanly took the Royal Jesters out of Game 1.
Definitely a
Any
very one-sided game there. Going from that early phase straight into the end game.
as we get into picks and bans here, Going Ghost up 1-0 over the Royal Jesters. Royal Jesters electing to take second pick yet again as Going Ghost goes ahead and bans out the Ola run and the Ao Kwang. Yet again, the first two bans on the board. Soul, yet again, this ban phase going very quickly. And Freya coming right back into that ban list. Or right back in, but in the ban list this time as Cleodna goes into the ban list of Going Ghost, and Hip Wall rounds out those bans for the Royal Jesters. Sheesh! That was a mouthful. that was fast.
We're seeing relatively the same picks and bans going on here, except the Royal Jesters are opting to ban out that Hebo and Freya, leaving a lot open. We do see that Colin coming through in this game for that soul laner this time. Not letting that go to the Royal Jesters at all.
Athena.
I mean, if that's a pick that's left open, that's a pick that needs to be taken. The Royal Jesters taking one of the brighter spots of their game from Game 1 and taking that Athena back for Game 2. I do like that call. That
Definitely
Athena,
a great pick into the Colin as well. He is able to have CC immunity in both forms of his ult. But the thing is, it's only for like a split second. It's more or less a cleanse. Being able to be pulled out of that ability right after it casts. Making for some big poke coming into that.
Athena so far the call, waiting on that second pick of the Royal Jesters. I do like their draft strategy from Game 1, or their ban strategy at least. From Game 1 and Game 2, going
And we
ahead
have the
and
Guan Yu coming back into that solo lane. Definitely a decent pick from that Kakolin, being able to sustain in the lane while he gets out poked. But the main problem here is coming to that late game, the might have a little bit more pressure alongside this Fenrir being picked up here by the Going Ghost team.
strong pick here from Going Ghost.
We might be
Brutalize going to
seeing
chase down either Athena or Guan Yu in anything they have. So
here we might be seeing maybe a side and mid going for the Royal Jesters.
Ishtar.
Anybody with the cripple against this comp that the Going Ghost team does have. Coming in with that Ishtar as well. Having 3 forms of mobility on these teams.
Ishtar,
A cripple would
very,
be
very
huge for the Royal Jesters here.
Ishtar, the best physical ADC in the game right now, from what I am aware. Very, very good clear. Very good laning phase as a support. I really hate going into her. But one of the things that this Athena can do to this Ishtar is make sure that she is the one proccing Ishtar passive and then just backing away and letting her ADC take over.
And
And
we do have that Cupid coming in with a massive cripple field for this team comp.
Cupid, the other pickup for the Royal Jesters.
And we have the Agni being banned here as well on the Royal Jesters.
That
Wondering
is
what their team comp will end up being completely.
that is a very interesting pick, though. Merlin getting banned out here as well. Cupid, have we seen Cupid yet this year?
I am not entirely sure if we have or have not.
Cupid, in my opinion, a very solid pick. While, yes, very in hand reliant, his Heart Bomb, the Fields of Love, both very, very good as long as you can hit them. But let's be real. How hard is Fields of Love to hit? And Maui seeing a ban in
Another
that
Maui
last
ban
slot
here
for
as
the Royal
well.
Jesters with Tiamat, the last ban for Going Ghost.
Definitely gonna be another interesting game going into this round 2.
Chat apparently very confused that we're not seeing a Chronos ban right now.
And not seeing a Chronos being picked up either.
Baba Yaga, the pick for the Royal Jesters. A very powerful pick if you let that get to late game.
Very solid mid lane team coming out of this late
Anubis
game
hover?
here.
Anubis hover? Are we going to see the Goobus?
Now, the Anubis would not be too bad going to this comp, but the main problem we're going to be seeing here is his safety. Having that Guan and the Athena on that enemy team, making him easily able to be pulled into those fights when he doesn't want to join them.
Agreed. It's an interesting hover, though, to say the least.
I would say full send it and lock that Anubis in right here and now.
Oh,
But we do see the Ymir coming in as well, and the Ymir is locked.
so who is the last pick going to be for Going Ghost becomes the question. We saw the Anubis hovered, and the mid laner has yet to be picked up. Unless we're going to see an Ishtar mid.
Now, remember what I said at the start of the set? We're going to be seeing a lot of off-meta picks coming in here, and I would love to see that Anubis being picked up and get some massive use out of. He has more early game pressure than that Baba Yaga, being able to cancel her dash, and that ult can easily burst her down, being one of the most high damaging abilities in the game.
If I remember, if you land all 30 ticks of Anubis ult, it is the most damaging ult in the game. Plain and simple.
Someone had once told me it does about 30,000 player damage in total if you can land every single tick of that.
And Hell going to be the last pick here for Going Ghost with Lance.
Going back with that hell here as well.
And Lancelot going to be the last pick of the draft for the Royal Jesters. You're good.
Definitely some interesting picks here. I do side with the Royal Jesters draft a little bit more than Going Ghost this time. Having that Lance, extremely good jungler right now as well.
Extremely good jungler in the Lancelot.
Being able to immune the Fenrir if he can get that leap off.
A lot of good CC as well. However, and here's where the question lies. The Royal Jesters with a lot of good CC and a lot of harder to deal with CC for this Hell. If the Hell can land her cleanses, though, I don't know what the Royal Jesters have got.
They got nothing.
Good power out of this Baba. That's about it.
It's going to be an interesting game indeed coming into this round 2.
Going Ghost, Royal Jesters, Game 2, about to be underway. As we get everything set up here on the technical side. All right, into the game we go. Oh, my bad. So based on the drafts, I do have to agree with you though, Cthulhu. I think the Jesters have a little bit of a better draft and a little bit not as high an execution threshold as they enforced on themselves in Game 1.
For sure. Having that, they have a massive amount of cripples going for that Fenrir there as well, making a massive difference in that game. He will not be able to be getting that Unchained and Brutalized off constantly, as you would want on that character. Making it extremely difficult to get any value out of him.
To be fair, I do love myself a good Fenrir support. So one of the things that I know I've always hated when playing Fenrir is just being crippled in general is not fun. But when two of your abilities and your most potent abilities are affected by cripples, it kills you. It hurts. You die inside when you see a cripple on the enemy team. And to see one as big as the Fields of Love, I would not be surprised if Azure decides, I'm going to end this Cupid's whole career before it can get going.
That is something we might be able to see here in this game, that Cupid just getting ganked level 1 probably. But another thing is we have that silence coming out of the Baba Yaga as well as the cripple field coming out of Lancelot having a massive range as well. There isn't much safety against this Fenrir on the enemy team outside of those cripple fields, though.
I'm sorry, I'm sitting here chuckling at chat as the game gets underway. The mid laner, the solo lane setup here going quite smoothly. Hell, though, seems like not the same clear as last time between these three. I don't know. I don't think it's the Hell per se, but definitely not as strong a clear as the Baba Yaga and company. What the potion throw, I definitely wouldn't expect it. And the stun immediately coming out on this Fenrir, but the damage coming out of the Royal Jesters just too much. And they're gonna have to sustain back up. Going Ghost getting poked out pretty hard there.
We see the difference here with the Lance coming into mid instead of that solo lane early on this time.
Absolutely.
While Colin does outpoke this Guan Yu here in the lane. Does outclear him as well.
Not horribly surprising. Personally, I disagree with the Bluestone start. I feel like if the Guan Yu goes into the
if he had gone into Warrior's Axe or Sigil, he would have been doing better in his lane against Colin, having that additional sustain. And that is the better items on that Guan Yu.
Ymir Ishtar looking to get some pressure going, doing a very good job of that.
Something we did not see last game as Athena actually avoiding their lane early on.
Absolutely. When you get ganked as hard as what happened that first game, you don't let it happen twice. And this Athena,
we have Lance confronting the Fenrir on that silver buff as well. While his team collapses on this Lancelot, this is going to be going into Going Ghost's favor. You're taking that first blood off of the Lance.
Absolutely. Speedy Pico on this Ymir are going to go ahead and grab it as this game truly gets underway with that first blood. And Baba Yaga just keeping this Hell under tower, making sure she can't go anywhere.
This is going to be a difficult game for this Hell, being able to not just get out of that tower line for that Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga, very, very good damage output. Both of them being late game characters, though Baba Yaga having the stronger early game out of the two. We'll see if Madonlin can turn that around, but for now, just going to be kept under tower and just tormented by this Baba Yaga. Absolutely tormented. Fenrir trying to relieve the pressure, but
getting some poke off on that Lancelot, only doing half his HP alongside that Hell 1.
Can only do so much with that Hell under tower, though.
This game is going to be played primarily in this dueling currently, with that Hell not having any pressure whatsoever in mid.
Hell not having any pressure is definitely one look at it. But on top of that, all this pressure over here in duo, if I'm this Lancelot, I feel like I need to be rotating over here and relieving that pressure as soon as possible. You know your mid is winning. You got to get someone else ahead.
That's the main problem in these lower divisions. They need to know what lanes they need to force in these fights. That Fenrir should be focusing his dual lane, knowing his Hell has no pressure in that mid lane, trying to put increased amount of pressure until that Ymir ends up rotating out. And with that Ymir in the mid lane, they can have additional pressure because this Athena is not going to be able to do much against this Ymir.
There's something to be said about that. If Athena lands the taunt first, she wins, in my opinion. However, if Ymir can just freeze Athena, well, Athena loses. As we get into a big fight here, but nothing really coming of it except for Cupid getting poked down into half.
So and nothing.
Fenrir jumping over the tower,
Fenrir taking 2 tower shots and narrowly missing both chomps on the Athena and the Cupid there.
Unable to get anything with that Ragnarok there. As he's
going to be
run back.
Big for the Royal Jesters there going into this next phase of the game.
That is a massive loss for Going Ghost. And as we move on, Going Ghost going to go ahead and go after their purple. Or not, they're going to stay for another wave, it looks like. As Ymir able to get the freeze down on the Cupid. But Cupid able to get away.
We have Lancelot coming into the duel lane here up the hop. With Ymir hovering, he doesn't know if he wants to go in yet. He is going to just secure that silver buff. Ymir is rotating over. They're hoping to get some poke here. Hoping to get some kills. She does get
like
the
a
mez
fight will
on the
break
wall.
out.
Cupid
Fields
feels
of
the
love.
Lancelot ult down. Fenrir was crippled for a good second, and he's gonna go down to that Cupid there.
There it is. Cupid getting the kill onto the Fenrir as the Royal Jesters are able to even up the score a little bit.
Now, that was a bad play coming from that Fenrir. They're not having that ultimate up for his own safety, knowing that there's 2 cripple fields that can be thrown on his head there.
I don't like the layering of them like that. They're both cripples. You should really be trying to space them out a little bit.
What they should have ended up doing there was ulting with the Cupid, and once that ult ended up popping, pop the Lancelot ult to be able to force more cripple on that Fenrir. We saw where the Fenrir ended up going. They did secure that kill regardless, but knowing that Fenrir had gone up to the right, they could have popped that Lancelot ult for additional cripple and just secure that kill even more.
Absolutely, and he probably wouldn't have made it that far even.
Yeah. Having that slow on top of the cripple, making it impossible to unchain or brutalize out.
Very, very potent combo, and I feel like we'll be seeing this. This Fenrir already has beads and didn't use them.
Well, there was not much the Fenrir could have done there in that situation either. Having those beads up doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be safe.
Well, I get that, but I feel like if he leaps over the wall there, because you have enough time.
Well, going into that fight, the Fenrir instantly used Unchained and saved Brutalize just to get crippled by the Cupid's Field of Love. By the time he got out of the cripple, he still had about 2 seconds left on that Unchained to be able to use it.
Absolutely. Hell getting poked out quite a bit here in mid, but nothing really doing of it as Fenrir goes in.
Fenrir gets the kill on Lancelot. Ragnarok gets the... I can't even see who that was. Athena. And Athena's going to go down here easily using her dash already into that Ymir wall. That was a perfect wall coming from that Ymir there.
Perfect wall from the Ymir. Great Ragnarok out of Fenrir. I thought it was pretty questionable him going in there, but his team able to get there and back him up. Very good play out of Going Ghost.
Getting a good lead here, going 2-1 and 1-0 again going into the second game. Both support and jungle are gaining their leads again in these games.
Something you really don't want to see if you're the Royal Jesters, but their Athena yet again maybe behind in the kill-death ratio, but not yet behind in experience, it looks like. And you could say even that as the Lancelot comes in and forces Ymir's beads. Beads?
Ymir with B?
Oh, never mind. That is my bad. That is a shell Ymir ult down from what I'm hearing, but I believe that was a hell cleanse. As Lancelot
caught out. Canceled the brutalize with that silence coming from the Baba Yaga. 3 moderately low in mid, except for that Baba Yaga who's extremely low, having to be forced to back here. Not much can be done in this mid lane though, with them sitting under that.
Ready for anything. Just what I needed.
go right back into it. The Fields of Love out from Cupid, able to pick up the kill at the bare end of it.
Definitely going to be huge for this Cupid, but the Fenrir is rotating over. He has no wards up in that dual lane. What is this Fenrir doing going for that silver buff, knowing the Cupid is still in that lane? He's giving him time to get back to the tower.
Cupid going, or Fenrir
Cupid's
going
still
around behind the Cupid.
Cupid's still oblivious.
Brutalize out.
Athena comes in. He has beads and narrowly survives. This is going to be Fenrir's life. You're coming with that
of
Athena
Olympus
top.
going in the confound.
Huge for this Cupid coming to that duo lane with that Defenders of Olympus.
Very, very good ult from this Athena. I have really liked what Lone Wolf has been showing us on that pick. And honestly, Ymir while going down, Baba Yaga ult coming out, Ymir potentially losing his life!
Ymir going down, hell at half HP, but they're deciding not to pursue it. Except for Lancelot, who's hunting this hell down here.
This Lancelot really wants that hell, is really hungry for this.
Hell looks like she's basically out of mana, too.
Hell, out of mana under a tier 1 tower.
Over.
But they decide not to dive, as Hell's just going to clear the wave and back safely. The Fenrir wanting to rotate in definitely can't really do that without his mid laner. As Ishtar tries to collapse on this Cupid over and left. We get another minor skirmish breaking out in the solo lane as well. Shout outs to the two solo laners.
We're going to be back after these messages, I guess. We have no fights going on here. Whoa, I lied.
Fenrir in mid.
Trying to go down in mid.
Brutalize.
Massive damage coming out of that Fenrir. Too critically low over in the mid lane. Solo lane is just doing solo lane things. Fighting for that totem. We do see the Colin ult go off.
When is there not fighting in solo lane?
When we're dancing.
That, Batman.
When we're dancing, my friend. When we're dancing.
When are you dancing, though? Just dancing mode? What? That happens? I thought that was a support thing.
It only happens when we don't see us on stream.
I thought that was a support thing. Rude. Either way, Ishtar, Cupid, just doing ADC things, taking wave, trying to poke. As Ymir rotates his way back into mid. Athena, though, make the rotation onto that right-hand side. Kukola may be biting off more than he can chew. Tries to leap away. As
Guan Yu ult goes down to stun him into this
Look
fight.
at my horse. My horse is amazing. And got
the kill is secured. We do have Ymir coming to this lane with the Baba Yaga behind. He will not be able to do anything to help assist this cleanup at all. But they are looking to collapse on this Baba Yaga, who put herself in a terrible position. Gets stunned out of her dash and secured by Azur. A 1-for-1 trade there, and I think the Going Ghost got a little bit more value out of that kill there, coming out of the mid laner.
I have to admit, I've got the stream up on the side here. It's how I'm kind of watching chat. And I get to see kind of an instant replay of that, and I'm still questioning why the Baba Yaga was there.
Now that is a good question. Giving the Gold Fury away for free here after getting killed.
As Going Ghost indeed will get the Gold Fury out of that. And
definitely
yet
a questionable play from that Baba Yaga, though.
Yet again, Going Ghost already out to a 3k gold lead. Almost 3.5k. And a 3k experience lead. Both of these comps very able to do a lot in the late game. And both, if you ask me, centered on the late game even. So having this lead, massive for Going Ghost as they look to hit the late game first.
For sure.
Ymir might be a little bit out of position here as he'll back up to the tier 1 tower. Not a lot going on right now. Not a whole lot of fighting. A lot more positioning going on. So this is the positional phase of the game as people start moving around. The Guan Yu and the Kukulin, yet again, solo laners doing solo lane things, fighting it out. Though this Kukulin really putting a lot of poke down on this Guan Yu.
He came back with a vengeance after getting ganked there. Fenrir is hovering over the solo lane. Hopefully, probably trying to secure that blue buff out of that Guan Yu.
Though it looks like Guan Yu is going to move up and Lancelot rotating over as
for that
well.
blue buff, being zoned out by the Ymir. They do end up securing it, and he wants that lance. Misses the Unchained.
Misses the Unchained, gets dove on by Lance.
Misses the Ragnarok once, hits it again.
As the Lance...
And goes down to Lance, who's going to narrowly escape that fight. Baba Yaga ult goes down. Colin goes in with no ult.
Oh my!
Getting close to raging out one more time here.
Freeze. As the
We're gonna see this Hell goes down as well. Baba Yaga and Guan both go down. Athena should go down here as well.
Ymir. Phenomenal wall out from this Ymir.
And Athena goes down to Colin, going 3-1 now in this solo lane, taking 3 kills for himself.
Is that a 4-1 trade? Or 4-2? No, Lance got out, didn't he?
Lance got out.
So that's a 3-2 trade on the part of Going Ghost in a fight that was not looking to be in their favor. That's just Ymir and Kukulin doing Ymir and Kukulin things.
Heavy CC coming out of both of those characters, making it hard to do anything.
And a beautiful, beautiful wall from Speedy Pico there, ensuring that this Athena just has nowhere to go. And both teams just gonna reset here. Though Going Ghost, yet again, just continuing to increase their lead. Now sitting at about a 3.7k lead. Not raising quickly, but going up. And where did this happen? Where did this come from? The Jesters support able to land a kill on the jungle of Going Ghost. All the while, this Ishtar having to back out. I want to know what happened.
And the world may never know what had happened.
Just quietly died. Man just died as quietly as anyone could. Though it looks like the Jesters are going to go ahead and take this Gold Fury. However, Hell and Ymir have questions to pose as the Jesters do take it. And they go ahead and drop Baba Yaga for it. Baba Doo Doo doing Baba Doo Doo things.
Just a slow little phase going here in this game currently. 7-8. A good gold lead going for the Going Ghost here. Guan just being a bully over his solo.
I don't think he's being a bully. I think he's getting bullied. That 2-level lead that Kukulin has on Guan says a lot. Kukulin in rage mode right now. Not gonna chase the Guan Yu under tower. As Ymir and Hell defend this mid lane. Going Ghost, playing it a little bit back. This is a game of two sides right now. Certainly a game of two sides, as while on one hand, Going Ghost is ahead in the solo lane, and I would contend in the jungle. Mid and duo are ahead for... My bad. And ahead in mid. Duo is in the lead for the Royal Jesters. So... Royal Jesters, though, with their ADC here to get this red buff. A wall from the Ymir to separate the fight. as Fenrir looking to back out, but the Royal Jesters looking to go in. Baba Yaga ult down. Athena taunt coming out to get this Kukulin. And a 3-man freeze from Ymir. The wall, the ult.
Ymir takes that
Fury
Lancelot down. One
Ice
ult
Shards.
down, Hell cleanses it. We have a big fight going on over here on the side with Ymir Colin diving that line.
You going in.
Fenrir trying to come back in extremely low, stuns the Baba Yaga, takes the Baba Yaga. They can
Baba
set up
Yaga
for that
gonna go
fire
down
giant
here.
here. But Ishtar is
As
still in
Guan
that
Yu
left lane.
tries to get out. 3 from Going Ghost chasing down this Guan.
Ishtar is going to be taking this tier 2 tower over in left right here for
Perfect
this
wall
fight.
from Ymir. But it doesn't
Fender of
matter.
Olympus coming in, saving that Guan Yu. Not saving that tower from that half HP. She's going to be taking these camps. Nope. Cutting off this Cupid and warding instead, knowing when he's going to come back.
I mean, you can't Defender of Olympus to a tower and there was no one there and left, so there's not a whole lot of saving the tower to be done. And the Fields of Love come out, and Beads getting burned on this Ishtar to get out of the Fields of Love and not give up her life right there.
The
3-man rotation. This Lancelot
now.
should be ahead of this Ishtar.
Blink ult on the Lance roots the Ishtar. Ishtar ult down. Saves her life narrowly with that extra zoning. Forcing the Lance to back off.
Fenrir going after the gold buff. I don't think that's the right call. Fenrir getting pushed away. And Going Ghost just not in a good spot on this duo lane, but they've got the entire rest of the map. So I wouldn't be too worried. As we get a look at the rest of what's going on, both teams, I would assume, positioning for really the Fire Giant here. The Gold Fury comes back up onto the map. What would you be looking for in the spot if you're the Royal Jesters?
Definitely going to be looking at that Gold Fury here. And trying to get as many wards out on that right side of the map as possible.
And if you're Going Ghost, what are you trying to do? Fire Giant, I would assume?
I would still go straight for that Gold Fury, getting that additional gold, and then forcing down that left side of the map. Having that tower low, get that free tower, back it up and take the pyro.
It
looks like we have Going Ghost pushing this Gold Fury. Fields of Love down on Cupid, Heart Bomb, Aegis on Ishtar, Mez on the Ishtar,
Defender of
Ishtar goes
Olympus.
down to Athena's ult, Cupid chasing the Hell in the backline. We have a 4 collapsing on Hell. Ku zoned out too. We still have the Guan on the Hell.
Absolutely.
We have Ben going in with a free Brutalize and End Chain. With no Cupid ult there to save him at all. Nova goes down, Lance trying to get onto... I don't even know what's going on anymore, I'm blind.
Guan Yu gonna dash through the entirety of that team. But Guan Yu going to go down. Joshi picking up the kill on Day Forever. And Going Ghost going to go ahead and look at this Gold Fury, just as you were just talking about. You know, maybe...
Just another free objective going towards the Going Ghost team here, securing that gold lead even further. They're going to be going from this and possibly the Pyro after taking these Oracles here.
I wouldn't doubt it. The
Further
Gold
extending
Fury,
that lead.
Gold Fury sending us from a 5,500 gold deficit to a 7,000 gold deficit for the Royal Jesters to overcome. And it just goes further. As Kukulin may have dove a little too deep, but able to get out. And yet again, another perfect wall from this Ymir to set up a kill. Sweaty Sacks getting Jinko PC.
Now this Ymir is being a massive player in this game, walling off anyone that's trying to get away.
For the record, anyone in this division, Pico is putting on a clinic on this Ymir. Honestly, something to be completely terrified by.
The main difference between this game and the last one, Royal Jesters are able to contest this Fire Giant now, being closer to on level, and not
However,
having
it
that
looks
extra
like they're
burst.
not going to.
Guan
Yu
goes
going to
down,
try it, and
Heals
Guan
the
Yu
Fire Giant.
healing the Fire Giant.
He might not live for that though, but he does
Oh,
steal
he
that FG.
definitely
Goes
won't
down to
live for it.
Azur. Hell's getting dove by the Athena. Massive play coming from that Guan Yu there.
Guan Yu potentially saving the game, and Pico definitely saving his mid laner there. These two supports are playing out of their minds right now. Speedy Pico and Lone Wolf putting on clinics for their respective gods right now. Athena this game, as we get back into another fight, Fields of Love down from this Cupid, but nothing really to come of it, just a little bit of poke. This Hell been a very, very good pick for going Ghost. Lancelot, Guan Yu respawning without their Fire Giant belts. Fire Giant respawning in 2 3/4 minutes.
Still having 4 FGs on that Royal Jesters team is huge here. When they're playing from that behind, that gives them the extra power to be on level.
I mean, 3 Fire Giant belts, but it is on 2 of their biggest players here. Mid and ADC both still have their Fire Giant belts, and one of their frontliners has to make sure that she's able to stay tanky. This Athena, 25 stacks into her prophetic cloak. So, Athena looking to be really tanky once she can get those stacks built. Trying to figure out which one she needs. If she still needs some physicals, probably what it is. She's probably hunting down the Ishtar and the Fenrir.
If I was at Athena, I would be hunting down that Fenrir there, being a massive problem for their team comp. They are
Fenrir-
showing down this right lane with Hell and Ymir trying to defend.
Fenrir has
Axe to defend this Phoenix though, but against the Ishtar, Fen, and Kakulin, they can easily dive this. And
They
the Guan
could
Yu
easily
packs
dive
are
it.
TP's in as well instead.
They could easily push in, just like this Hell can easily defend. As Fire Giant, 1 minute and 25 seconds from respawning, and Ishtar being chased out, this Cupid and this Guan racing down this side of the jungle after her. Fenrir jumping onto the Cupid, but Cupid able to get the kill on Ishtar in the meantime. This Cupid going down to this Fenrir as Defender of Olympus comes out. This Fenrir has been massive in this game, and with a big pick onto this Cupid, trades the ADCs.
That might not be it here with 4 rotating into that duo lane. We do have it. Athena getting poked down and slowed by that Hell. She should be going down here as well. Brutalized
Ghost,
and
what this
Unchained
fight-
are up.
Is that?
And Athena goes down as well.
Athena's sprint also popped, by the way, in this fight, as Guan Yu has to back out entirely, and
That
they're
is
going to look at
2 Fire
another.
Giants down here and a free Gold Fury for the going Ghost team one more time. This one being Primal, making it easier for them to set up that Fire Giant come when it
They're
spawns.
just going to run it back. They're just going to run it back at this rate. I have not seen enough out of the Royal Jesters in this game. Athena is doing a lot, but I need to see some, like, Athena Cupid, this duo lane has been doing a very, very good job. I need to see someone else on this Jesters team step up. Someone's got to step up and help these two out here. As the Royal Jesters, it seems, are going to be the first to set up on fire.
trying to contest it over there on the Royal Jesters as well. They know for a fact that they want to get this Fire Giant. But the question is, will Royal Jesters be able to out-secure it this time around? We have Colin dive in the backline, launching his ult, about to rage out. Ult
And
from
the-
Lance. He's fighting for his life, and 3 of them. They do take Nova one more time on that Fenrir, getting collapsed on by the Abayaka, going
Fenrir
down to
going
Guan
be
Yu,
taken by Guan
diving
Yu.
all over this Athena, stopping her from getting out. We have Colin in the back still, occupying 3 of them, while Going Ghost decides to focus Athena for whatever reason. Not
Athena
even
should go down
narrowly
here
securing that kill.
Kill.
Colin goes
And-
down as well. Guan goes down to the Ishtar here. Any
Does
second
he?
now.
Does
Any
he?
second. Ishtar
Oh my!
misses every auto. Oh my god, not something you want to see coming from that ADC.
And
Goes down to the hell.
Finally getting the kill.
They could
It's
not
a perfect
pop
wall,
that.
but it does not matter.
they could not pop that horse off of that Lancelot, allowing him to be able to leap over that wall and blink out. But they are able to get this tower here if they decide to take it. Or they can easily go to that fire and burn it with that Ishtar crit.
I can't stress enough how impressed I am by this Ymir's walls. This has been an impressive performance out of Speedy Pico. But DKY Forever, able to stay alive. Just some S-curves he's throwing in there at these people.
Of course, definitely a really good game going on for this Ymir. He is showing his presence in this match.
As Going Ghost go ahead and start the Fire Giant. Lancelot nearby. The wall from Fenrir going to make sure that no one can really get in easy. Kukulin going to zone them off, giving his life to get the enhanced fire. The Mesmerize and the Ragnarok come through, and DKY Forever, there's just nothing he can do about that. As it looks like the Royal Jesters are going to step back and play some defense. This team, this enhanced Fire Giant, this stage of the game, we could be looking at a push to end the game.
This could easily be the end of the game here, but last game, they had gotten their FG. It wasn't enhanced, and they threw that away by trying to dive that Phoenix. We might see that again here. And if it does go that way, Royal Jesters might just be able to end the game after that siege defense.
Worth remembering, however, this time. Last time it was enhanced FG, so this time with the enhanced FG, those backdoor defenses going to be down here. So they can walk in and deal full damage to these Phoenixes and towers.
I'm gonna be getting this gold trade to help them assist with those pushes. Those Oni waves are no joke coming into this late game. Being maxed out minions on top of just having that additional buff.
Absolutely.
That makes him just basically as strong as a standard fire wave there.
And that leads me in the last thing you want to see, Oni fire waves. Something you never want to see going against you.
If they can
As
get
this
that,
Kukulin diving in too deep by the look of it.
if they can get that left Phoenix within the next few
This
seconds,
Fenrir-
they could get a set of Oni fire waves though. But
This
they're not
Fenrir
going to be
wanting
getting
to-
that.
Fenrir wanting to have jump in and help out. And it looks like the Jesters are going to defend the Tier 1 tower. In the meantime, Ishtar burning the left Phoenix, going to take it down. Beads out of Ishtar with the dash. The ult coming through as well. Azure cleaning up Cupid in the back. And a two-man fight going on. This this Lance living for a lot longer than we thought. But eventually going down.
Still barely alive after securing that left Phoenix. They're going to be bagging up here, it looks like.
Woo-wee. This Fenrir. We thought he was going to have a hard time with all these cripples, but Fenrir coming through in a big way throughout the whole game.
Both him and that Ymir are making a massive difference in this game. Alongside the Ishtar just melting down anyone she sees.
Absolutely.
The heavy difference between magical and physical ADCs right now. is just that crit tree. They are able to outdamage any magical ADCs besides that Freya, but
And Soul. There's a reason Soul's big, but Fenrir able to go in and grab this Baba Yaga, and this game should be over. Fenrir
it's
able to...
Nova one more time, secures the kill on Nova, and they take the game too.
Going Ghost, going to secure their win this week as they get a 2-0 victory over Royal Jesters.
Definitely
Honestly,
a one-sided game in the first one, and this second one it could have gone either way. I would really have wanted to see the comp that Royal Jesters had show more, but they just could not outplay those Going Ghost players at all.
honestly, if there's one person on the Royal Jesters that I have to give a shout out to, it's Lone Wolf on this Athena. That was some really good play all game in both games. A few questionable ults in that first game, but the ults were cleaned up in the second game, and the play from this Athena in the second game was clean throughout.
For sure, that Athena was a big player on this team alongside the Guan. The only problem is they could not play off every fight as well as they should have been.
Azure making sure to put in extreme amounts of disruption in the back line, but Speedy Pico as well, especially in the second game on that Ymir. Talk about a clinic. Those walls were frame perfect. Like, if I wanted to take a picture of one of these Ymir walls and put it up on my wall, I would have picked one from from this game. Oh my god.
So many
Beautiful.
walls in this game that just secured a kill every time, and sometimes there was even a couple that would secure two. That Ymir on speed was definitely the best pick he could have gone in this game.
Absolutely. That was terrifying to watch. I don't even want to think about playing against that. Either way, Going Ghost 2-0 over the Royal Jesters. And any final thoughts for us, Cthulhu? Anything more you want to add?
Welcome to week 3, and it's definitely starting off with a bang here. Going Ghosts, going extremely positive. Definitely a good start to the week.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everybody for showing up for the 2 p.m. game. Remember to tune back in 4:30 Eastern Time for the next game. Sorry about that. Remember to tune in at 4:30 Eastern Time for the Hanford Hairnets Merlin versus Bodega Hive Merlin. And with that,